Give me a little more feedback on your end, just a touch. 1 and a 2, we round up, homies. What up?
What about now?
Sounds good to me. Speakers. Yeah, if you don't do this every day, it's like you don't need this equipment. Come on in, round up, homies. I missed y'all. It's freezing out here. 35 degrees, raining in here in the Hampton Roads area. Vince, did you know those guys that did my new favorite song? They're from Norfolk.
Ooh,
I mean,
the stimulus check. Hey, that joint had me weak. You know them guys?
nah, they were on the news yesterday on
Yeah,
Baby TV 13.
they've been on CNN and everything. They worldwide superstars.
I'm loving these guys. I love it, man. I hope black people make money on that joint, though. My thing is make some money, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Don't be out here cooning. We ain't live, are we?
We live, man. We live. We live. It's cool, though. You're right. You need to make money. If you're going to do some entertainment, make money. Make money. I was thinking about all my people that, how much publishing, I was talking to my wife the other day, how much publishing has black people given away since the beginning of the music industry? It keeps me up at night, Vince.
A lot.
Trillions, probably. Trillions.
More than trillions. Music industry been around for a long time, and I think they probably do trillions of dollars a year.
So you think black people have given away more than trillions of dollars?
I would bet it.
Wow, man. I saw a documentary the other day about Sam Cooke. I'm like, these dudes, they've been getting raped. We've been getting raped since the beginning. But anyway, we ain't here to talk about that stuff, man. But I just think that it's good to at least acknowledge that so we can move on past it. We can move on,
Mhm.
you know? Vince Gantt, round up family. Thank you. We got 45 people in here wanting to hear thus saith Vincent Gantt. I am Chris Haskins. My ministry and my mission is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. And doing that, I get to hang out with some of my secret weapons. Vincent Gantt, how you doing, my friend?
Pasco, glad to be on, my brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you inviting me on, man.
It's crazy. I thought about you. I told you I was laying in the bed. I'm like, I need to get Vince on here, man. Just God gave me a vision. I don't know, but what you've been doing. You're so young and you're in the business.
Mhm.
Vincent been around. How long you been in the game, dog?
Seems like a really long time. I've really been in real estate since 2012. Around the same time I actually met you. I think I met you around that time.
Okay.
Is when I was kind of looking to break through, get some deals going, and you kind of catapulted me in a lot of different ways. You gave me a lot of good pointers and showed me a lot about real estate really early on.
Yeah, you really have taken off, man.
You remember when we first met?
I remember when you came to my dinner.
Exactly. The Christmas dinner. I was looking to close my first deal. I was desperate. I was so desperate. I walked up on Chris Haskins in the middle of his real estate meetup group. They all had a big dinner at this big fancy restaurant downtown Norfolk. And, looking back, yeah, I was pretty desperate, man. But I appreciate you, showing me the ropes along the way.
Man, I welcome you. I'm like anybody that has the guts to call me and want to meet me and takes the initiative to go out and do it, man. I'm like, you on board.
My brother.
So roundup today, we want to talk about wholesaling using realtors. And I want to make sure I do a disclaimer here. The word is not realtor. The word is realtor. Okay. I don't want to, next time I hear somebody say that, I'm going to put a bullet in my head. Realtor. Okay. So real estate agent. And I don't want to be hearing that mess. If you would, Vince is dealing with realtors and real estate agents and using the MLS to wholesale these properties. We're going to be talking a lot about this stuff. I'm telling you, Vince has some secrets and some tricks up his sleeve. He's going to be sharing with you. So make sure you get ready. Get ready. Pay close attention. Vince, give us the backstory on what it is you do.
Primarily I wholesale. I do a lot of wholesaling. We also got a small portfolio of rental properties myself. We build. We'll every once in a while. We also do a little flipping. If if the deal is really good, then we'll flip. We like to primarily wholesale it and keep them more than hold on to properties more than anything. We also do a little seller finance, and I'll pick them up subject to rent to own. If the seller is motivated, then we can make it happen. If the seller is and with the deal, if there's something that we can do with the deal, whether there's a little bit of equity, no equity, or a bunch of equity, if the seller is motivated, we can make it happen. Um, that's pretty much what I do. I'm full time. I'm also a licensed agent. I'm much more of an investor than I am an agent. I got my license simply to have access to the MLS, and to be able to kind of have access to the same information and run comps the same way that agents do, and really to have accurate information and to give myself what I think is the upper hand over a lot of other investors and wholesalers that, we're all out here looking to get the most deals really. So that's me.
So your niche or niche is going to be wholesaling and buy and hold, and it sounds like you kind of got your foot in all different types of transactions, Vince.
Yeah, I would say I'm in the business of dealing with motivated sellers, and long-term goal is to build a really big rental portfolio where where we would seller finance a lot of properties or do a lot of rent to owns, or and keep it, actually um, maintain ownership as landlords, as a regular landlord over some of them also. So yeah, we do a little bit of everything.
Sweet, man. Sweet, sweet. So round up, Vince. Today's topic, wholesaling. So Vince, I've seen him all around town, all 7 cities in Hampton Roads. Do you do any virtual stuff out of the area too, Vince?
Oh, definitely. Again, it comes down to wherever we can find motivated sellers, we do it. We don't. We definitely focus on the Hampton Roads area, and we do a lot of the majority of our marketing goes towards Hampton Roads, but we definitely have different areas in the country. We like Detroit, Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow.
We've played around in Baltimore and a couple of places down in Florida, but as far as virtual wholesaling, the places I would say that we've had the most success would definitely be Alabama, Detroit, and we've actually even done one in Ohio. So,
Okay.
but that wasn't something that we did a lot of marketing to get. It actually came to us. So,
Okay.
so yeah.
Gotcha.
Answer the long answer to that question is yes, sir. We do. We will go outside of our market and do some virtual stuff.
Okay. Okay. So the stuff we're talking about, as we get into this working with realtors, this stuff works not only in Hampton Roads, but it has the potential to work in other markets as well.
Mhm. Sure. Yeah.
So I know there's a stigma before, man, I could ask you a million questions. There's a stigma with investors working with realtors, Vince.
Mhm.
There's a stigma, like we look identical, but the worlds can be far apart. They're almost like this alternate universe. Stay there
Right.
for a minute, Vince, so we can just warm them up to how we're gonna find the right realtor.
Mhm. All right. So is when using the MLS to wholesale, right? If you're not an agent, see, I took the steps to become an agent, and I really will recommend that you do the same. But if you don't, then the next thing, best thing to do is to actually find, that agent in the area, an investor friendly agent who understands wholesaling, who understands investors. They know how cash buyers work. And they you want to find an agent who's familiar with what title companies and attorneys, to use. The last thing you want to do is have an agent who's not familiar with an assignment contract or how to put a creative deal together when your end goal is to turn that into a you know a cash deal or whatever type of financing that you're going to do on it.
Well, let's talk about that before we get into your meat. I want to, because I run into people from coast to coast, and they just have this. I don't want to deal with agents. That
Mhm,
this is there's always a problem. They get in there. They think they know what's going on. Go
mhm.
ahead.
Yeah. Definitely, I've had that same problem, right? But that does not fit every agent, right? You actually have some agents who deal solely with cash buyers, all right? A lot of agents, only want to deal with cash buyers because the transaction is quicker. You don't got to do a bunch of appraisals, inspections.
Nope.
You close in 2 weeks or less, and you get your commission off of it. Um, what you really kind of want to do is really kind of focus. I mean, canvassing is still a big part of real estate today, right? We got a lot of computers and all that stuff, but it still really helps to get out in the car, ride around, look at listings. You definitely have to be able to tell the difference between a property that's just on the market for sale and a property that's been flipped and rehabbed or a new construction, right? So when you see a new construction or a property that's been flipped, and you see the agent with their sign in the front yard, that tells you that this agent works with an investor. All right, 9 times out of 10, somebody flips a house or builds a house, they're an investor. All right, so you can contact that agent and let them know, hey, I'm an investor. Which if you're a wholesaler, you're definitely an investor. I'm an investor. I'm looking to get access to the MLS and make offers on the MLS. All right. So that's one way to kind of locate and pinpoint, that right agent that's doing a lot of volume and working with investors. Let me be. Is that the? Give me a because I want to be sure that I answer your question fully. All right, because I know that I want to be able to give as much good information to everybody who's signed in right now. Did I just answer your question or?
Yeah. Well, we got 70 people on here to hear what thus saith Vince Gantt. Well, I want to paint the picture. I can't tell you how many deals that I have lost based on dealing with realtors that
Oh yeah.
know what they're doing. I'm going to put quotations. No, or you can't do it. You can't do it like that. Or
Right.
I just wanted to stay there just for a second and then talk about
Well,
finding the
okay.
right ones, because
Okay.
I think everybody thinks that. Well, I don't say everybody. You got one segment of the population says go find a realtor, go find a house. The other section is older guys like me, like realtors. It could really mess it. It could throw a monkey wrench in the deal. So just give us a picture of that, Vince, of investors that don't want to deal with them, realtors, and then the ones that you like dealing with, and why they may think that they may not want to deal with a realtor.
A lot of people don't deal with it with realtors because it is something about realtors. You will find a lot of them, especially the ones who have been in the game for a long time. They tend to know everything. So you definitely want to find you somebody. I tend to especially if you're new and you haven't closed a ton of deals. I tend to like to find those agents who are newer also.
Why is that?
Um, because when you're wholesaling on the MLS, just like when you're wholesaling, when you're sending mail, right? You can make a bunch of offers, but only one of them is going to get accepted. All right. So, and agents work off of commission. So you want to, have an agent that understands, that not every offer is going to get accepted, and they're not going to, they're only going to get paid on the deals they close. With that being said, the majority of agents who've been in the game for a long time, um, they want to be able to close. They don't want to have to put in as much work to be able to close on a deal. All right. And a lot of that is because they have closed their mind on, what they will and won't do as far as being able to get a deal closed. Once you get along so far, everybody has a certain point in their career where I'm not doing that anymore. And agents, of course, get like that. So, a lot of, an experienced agent probably will tell you, hey, you probably need to find somebody who's a little newer, who's a lot more willing to learn, as we go along.
I see. So go ahead. Cut you off.
Um, but yeah, so you definitely having an agent having the right agent submitting your offers can be the difference between you being successful and not being successful with wholesaling on the MLS. All
Gotcha.
right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's very important,
Vince, you know what's weird? Well, let me ask you, I came up. I started on creative real estate. I didn't even
Mhm.
know nothing about that realtor getting a loan, home inspection, appraisal. It wasn't even on my radar. And then I find out that that's all that some people know. That's
Man.
all they, and it's like, holy cow. Is this all, so just help us, and I'm not gonna stay here for just for another minute. Is it amazing how some people know certain things and they're not willing to open their mind to other things? And I'm going to ask you, is that kind of one of the challenges and hurdles of getting over?
Oh, definitely one of the challenges. Getting through to somebody who again, who's closed-minded. Once you know everything, it's
You
almost
don't.
impossible to learn anything. You know what I mean? Um, and you know, there are in wholesaling and investing, there is a lot of gray area if you don't know what the rules are because everybody will tell you something different. Some people will tell you, hey, if you're a wholesaler, you can't be a licensed agent, and vice versa.
Heard
They'll
that.
also tell you things like, hey, you can't wholesale off the MLS. You know what I mean?
Heard that.
You can't list properties on the MLS.
Unless you own
And
it.
then
Yeah.
some of them
Heard that.
actually have brokers, right, that will back them. And it's like, one of the biggest things that can hurt somebody in any profession is being in it for a long time, and at some point they stop learning.
Mm,
You have a lot of agents like that,
mm.
um, and you want to have an agent that is open minded, that that will do everything that they can in order to make sure that that your offer gets submitted the right way, is filled out the right way, and that you're staying in line with like rain guidelines and all that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So the investor buyer and the investor agents that we're looking for, they are already representing investors based on you doing your due diligence, verifying new constructions and houses that have been renovated and on the MLS.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's a bunch of other ways that you can that you can
Go ahead.
pay who are doing a lot of volume. Uh, were you about to take off?
No, we can stay there. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking I just want to give
Okay.
them a visual of that agent, and it doesn't have to be an active. I'm thinking, shoot, you can just pull stuff that's sold in the past. It's not like it has to be active right now, right?
Right, exactly. If you find an agent who's doing a lot of activity in areas that you like, in areas where here in Hampton Roads, the median for that flip, investors are really doing a lot in that. I would say what 300,000 and up is
Okay.
where most flips and new construction, are priced.
Yep.
So you definitely, if you decide that you want to lock down whatever side of town that you're on, or neighborhood, then that means that you want to kind of get you an agent, who's investor friendly, who also understands that area, that neighborhood.
Gotcha. Round up, get your questions in. I'm here with my boy Vincent Gantt. Vince Gantt, a real estate wholesaler in the Hampton Roads area. The guy's got some serious tricks up his sleeve regarding this wholesaling, dealing with realtors and the MLS. So Vince, so we found us a realtor, or we have become a realtor.
Hmm.
What's going to be our next step, my friend? The what?
The next step is to actually do. The next step is to log into that MLS, and you can insert a criteria of properties that you're looking for.
Hmm.
Um, and I really like to go after the low hanging fruits. I don't like to look at newly active things or anything like that. I like to look at stuff that's been up there for a while.
What's the
Um,
definition of newly active? Give us quantify that.
I would say it all depends on the market, right? See, like right now, stuff is flying off the shelf. If it's a deal, then it's gonna be gone and same day that it's listed. So really anything that's 30 days or over, you know,
That season.
yes, and it's
That's
time. Yeah,
amazing, isn't it?
you need to be looking at it. If it's 30, if it's hold on one second. Yeah. So, 1 second, people.
You good?
Got a
Round up.
call.
We got Vincent Gantt here. 80 people. Oh, 85 people want this.
Okay.
Wants to hear. You good?
Oh, yeah. What was I saying now?
Before you were saying we were quantifying what seasoned is and what's
Right.
newly listed.
Right. Well, yeah. 30 and over. Because in today's market, stuff is selling so fast that if it's still active at 30 days, then
It's an
then
issue.
it's a good chance you got a good chance of putting a contract on it if you're able to make them the right offer and stuff like that.
That's amazing how 30 days is considered long.
Now this time last year, 30 is a totally different scenario.
That's yeah. Go ahead.
The
Explain that,
market
Vince.
has totally flipped. 30 days this time last year was normal. Because around this time last year, I probably wouldn't put an offer on it. It's about 60, 90 days, unless it was 60 or 90 days active.
So sounds like you have some type of. We need to look at the overall health of the market to determine
Mhm.
what's new and what's seasoned, Vince.
Exactly. Yeah. Very important that you know what's going on. What areas are doing what investors are doing what, if you got more builders in what area or more flippers, and um, you need to understand different zoning, laws that are taking place, or regulations, not laws, um, and stuff like that. So
Got you. So we got it. You got your area you want to invest in. I'm gonna let you go, Vince. Give us your little what's the
mhm.
next step?
So really, I typically like to go in. I don't look at bank owned properties. All right.
Why not?
Um, the bank is very hard to negotiate with, right? And if you're going to make an offer on a property that's listed on the MLS, then typically the contract price that you need to get the property under contract for needs to be a lot less than what it's actually listed for. All right. And anybody that's a seasoned investor, wholesaler, whatever, who's dealt with the bank, we all know that the bank doesn't really negotiate a whole lot. In most cases, all right,
Yeah,
you got a lot of guys out there who only do bank stuff, and they use different strategies and different REO stuff like that. But generally speaking, from my experience, right, when you go put an offer on the MLS, unless it's been up there for a year or two, the bank, they're pretty steadfast. They know what they want, and they don't come off of their number a whole lot. So I really like to deal with private owners.
private owner.
I get really excited when I see anything, a listing that's like an estate, that's underneath the name of an estate. Or I get really excited when you can when the name on the listing is like a junior, or something that you can see that these are family members or heirs on the property or something like that. So basically, I create a criteria that pretty much tells me that that it's a good chance somebody's going to be motivated, right?
Hmm.
Um, and like again, in today's market, we go anything on the market for 30 days or more. All right. I don't know no bank on properties. Um, I look at all bedrooms, bathrooms. I leave that field completely open. I wholesale 2 bedrooms just as much as I will a 3 or 4 bedroom. I know a
Hmm.
lot of investors and wholesalers won't touch them, but I will, because I've made plenty of money off of them. Of course, we only do single family and multi units and stuff like that. I really don't do a whole lot of commercial. You may, um, but so yeah. So I'm not really specific about square footage or size of the lot or anything like that. It's more so market time, and I just want to be sure that it's a private owner and not the bank. And I really don't like short sales either. But if it's something about the short sale that I really something that I see when I'm looking at the listing, I will put it in for a short sale. So once you figure out your criteria, you insert your criteria, the MLS will bring back, a big long list. Usually it's somewhere between 3 and maybe 500, 600 properties, right?
Hmm.
So you click through each one of these properties and you look at the tax records. Um, and you go into the tax records. The thing that I really focus on are I look at the homeowner's name. I want to see if the mailing address is the same as the actual property address.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the first thing I see as I'm scrolling down. I've kind of trained my eye, once I click on that on the tax records, to look right at the mailing address. And as I'm scrolling by that, next I go down to the assessment. I'm keeping note of that as I'm going along, and then I go down to the mortgage history. Now, this is the biggest part about making an offer on the MLS is the mortgage history, right? Um, so the mortgage history will pretty much let you know when the last time a loan was taken out on the property, or somebody refinanced on the property or anything like that, which is good for you because it lets you know if you're wasting your time or not, right? So if you're looking at a property where based off of your experience that it's a good chance it's less than $100,000, and you look at the tax records and you see that they just recently took out a mortgage for 105 last year at a 9% interest rate, then it's a good chance it's not going to be a deal, right?
Gotcha.
See, that saves yourself a lot of time because you put an offer in on everything, you're gonna get a lot of calls from agents saying, "Hey, that offer doesn't even make sense because my seller owes more on the property than what you even offer." All
Mhm.
right, so that's pretty frustrating. I've done that before. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So after you build your criteria, then you go into the tax records. And once you look at the mortgage history, there's a couple other things in the tax records that will that you may want to focus on. Nothing really big.
Mhm.
But one thing, the second biggest thing that I really look at is the listing history. All right, a lot of properties have been listed multiple times, right? And you want to go back into those listings and
At the same time, or we're talking about over the years?
say that for me again.
When you said they've been listed multiple times, are we talking about multiple times back to back at this current time, or just over the years in the past it's been bought and sold?
It'll tell you all of that.
Gotcha.
Whether it's been listed 2 times in the last 3 years or 10 times
Gotcha.
in the last 15 years.
Okay.
Um, so that's something that you really want to key in on because you want to pay attention to what they had the property listed at before compared to now. All right.
Mm.
You also want to look at how long it stood on the market. How long did it stay on the market before they took it off because it couldn't sell.
Mm.
And you also want to click through the pictures to see what kind of condition it is in then compared to now. All right.
Mm.
So now when you put the offer in, you go to the agent and you can say, "Hey, I'm making my offer at this because blah blah blah. You've done your you've comped it and done some due diligence on it, before putting an offer."
Gotcha.
So another big thing that I kind of skipped over is before you even sit down to put in offers on the MLS, you want to build you a template. Have a copy of a rain contract, of a contract or whatever area that you're in. Each different MLS administration company, whatever you want to call it, is different, right? See, here in Hampton Roads, it's called Rain. I know in other areas they have different names, but you want to have a copy of a contract, whatever contracts the agents and everybody uses in your area. You want to have that already pre-filled out. You want to have your company as the buyer. All of the information, it's a lot of information is going to be the same on each contract, right?
Mhm.
5-day inspection period, 10-day inspection period, 30-day close, whatever you want to put it. I have a contract template built to the point where all I have to do is go in and change the address, the purchase price, and the close, and like two or
Date
three other fields. You know
the
what I
date
mean?
the date will change.
Yeah. So it takes me about 2, maybe 3 minutes to fill out a contract.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
to submit it. Yeah.
So you're getting an offer in. So let's talk about, Vince, how we're getting an offer accepted. I know you said you got some secrets in that, and just maybe you could just share with the rounduppers, because no doubt other people are making offers as well.
Mhm, mhm. Very, very, very true. Especially in the market today,
It's crazy
um,
out there.
competitive. As a wholesaler, you really, really have to um, be good at wholesaling when you go on the MLS right now, in order to make some money. One, you kind of have to be willing to take a risk, because there are earnest money deposits and stuff like that involved
What do
in
you
it.
mean by that? Stay there for a minute, Vince.
Um,
Go ahead and explain that to my rounduppers. What do you mean by taking a risk? Because most people are saying wholesaling, all I'm doing is selling the paperwork and getting out of it. There is no risk.
mhm, mhm. Right. So with the wholesaling on the MLS, it's regulated. A lot more about like rain, DPOR, HUD, and whatever other real estate
Whatever letters
factors.
you can come up with.
Yeah, exactly. They're out here. So, which means that, once you sign a contract, there's going to be somebody kind of overlooking everything to make sure that you do everything to a T, right?
Mhm.
So as soon as you put get an offer accepted on a contract on the MLS, most agents are going to the next thing they're going to say is, "Hey, when are you turning in the earnest money deposit?" Right?
Mhm.
So here in our area, we had 5 days up until about a year ago. Now you have 2 days to turn the earnest money deposit in, right? So me, I've gotten pretty good, to be honest with you. I haven't really had to come out of pocket for earnest money deposit. I probably have. I feel like that I'm kind of forgetting something right now, but generally speaking, I don't come out of pocket with earnest money deposit simply because I'm pretty good with knowing what price to get the property under contract for, number one, and then turning around and having a contract signed with my end buyer before the the period is up for you. The 24 hour, the 48-hour period is up that requires you to have the earnest money deposit turned in.
So it sounds like you're getting the end buyer to put up the earnest money before you even have to.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That's sweet. Sharp. Y'all learn that one. Give them thumbs up. Give us a smash that like button for that one. That was a good tip there, Vince.
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, so again, it is a little bit more risky, but after you close on a few deals, it's not a big deal at all. Because again, you learn to stick to your number, and you learn to only ratify contracts that you know that you can move on.
Hmm.
And now, as far as being able to outbid other investors and wholesalers and stuff like that on the MLS, that's not anything that I do. I don't outbid anybody. One of my go-to lines, that I tell an agent is, I don't get involved in the highest and best. Keep me in mind if your current offer doesn't work. You know,
Mm.
you will have a lot of success with that, because as a wholesaler, you cannot afford to just outbid everybody. Then you get the property under contract, and you can't move it. You know what I mean? So I just make the contents of my offer like really, really strong. You know what I mean? Really strong. What I do is, um, I'm gunning, for a 2 week close. No contingencies. Um, and stuff like that. Not in every contract, not in every contract, but I'm following up, on the offers where the agents told me they accepted a higher offer. When they tell me that they accepted a higher offer, and I end up finding out what the property went under contract for, and I know that the buyer's not going to be able to close, or it's a good chance that it is another wholesaler that doesn't really know what they're doing, then I really follow up and I stay on top of them. I check in with them, once a week, if not more. Um, but the one thing that has really worked for me is going in with little to like no inspection period, right? And there's ways that you can buy time and still have an inspection period without it actually being on paper, right? Um, but when you're putting offers on properties, and everybody, especially in today's market, is going with their strongest offer, no contingencies, cash, close right away, then you kind of have to do the same thing, especially if you want to get deals on the MLS. So I just make them. I'm firm on my offer. I follow up.
Follow
Um,
up.
Once the agents get off the phone with me, I've built rapport to a certain level where they know, hey, This guy at least sounds like he knows what he's doing. If things don't work out, I know I at least have somebody to go, with my backup offer. And a backup offer comes back a lot more than what you think if you're putting in enough offers, right? And it's kind of discouraging when you first put an offer in and the agent like same day gets back to you and say, hey, under contract, or we just signed with another buyer, or offer rejected. It is kind of discouraging, especially for the ones where you had a good idea that you was going to, be able to get it or get a lot better feedback than that. But it's no worse feeling than getting a property under contract for too high and not being able to move it. And it's also no better feeling than getting that phone call a month, maybe 2 months down the line, where the agent's like, hey, is this Vince? I'm not sure if you remember, but you put an offer in on my property at 123 Main Street a couple months ago, and the buyer that we signed with, he wasn't able to close. Are you still interested? Yes, I am. But I cannot come any higher than what my offer was. And then if I see the opportunity, I might even go lower. You know what I mean? Some things change.
I've done that.
I had one property where I already had the buyer lined up for it. He looked at it. One of my pocket buyers told me what he can offer for it. I put the offer in on it. They rejected it, and then came back to me and wanted to know if it was still available. And I went back to my buyer, asked him if he was still interested. He had recently ratified on a couple other contracts. He wasn't as motivated. So he said, yeah, I'm still interested, but my offer comes down. All right. So that means that my offer has to come down also, which is something that actual end buyers do a lot, from my experience. You go to them. And a lot of times, once they see that you're a little vulnerable and a little bit more motivated than before, that they'll definitely, bring you down on your offer some.
It's a takeaway, man. I love it. The takeaway works, man. Look, I do it. I gotta do it like this.
Yeah. Another thing that I also do in my contracts is sometimes I'll put something in there where it says that they have like a certain period of time to respond to me. And the reason I say that is because a buyer, I'm not going to say he got me, right? Because I made good money on the deal, but I could have got a lot more. I had about 2, maybe 3 years ago, I had got a property under contract for a really sweet price and put it on the MLS. And like within like 2 hours, I had a buyer make me like a full price offer.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the contents of his offer, he said, hey, offer is like only valid until like 7 in the evening or something like that.
I ain't mad at that, man. I ain't mad at that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So me, getting a little antsy, me, I like, it was a solid buyer, it was a cash deal, it was coming from an agent who I've done several deals with, the agent was solid, I knew it was a solid deal. And I went ahead and ratified it. They built up that, whatever the word, I guess you can say it, anxiety, built up that urgency.
Urgency.
Sense
of urgency.
And built up that urgency, and I went ahead and signed. No sooner than later on that day, I had an offer that was above list price. Then that following day, I had 2 more that was above list price. And I said to myself, instead of letting this frustrate me, I'm going to use this as a tool and incorporate it into my contracts on deals that I know are sweet deals that I don't want to give the agent too much time to go out and try to make some buyers.
Sweet. That is sweet. My offer ends at 7 p.m. Take it or leave it.
Yes, sir.
I
Military time. So 6:45, you late.
Round up, get your questions in for Vince. We got a few more things I'm going to ask him, and then I'm going to open them up to you guys. So we got 85 people on here hanging out with us, Vince. Wholesaling using the MLS and dealing with realtors. Last thing on dealing with realtors, then we're talking about how you're selling these things. Well, I'm presuming you're not selling them back on the MLS. We're switching gears and talking about regular contracts. So getting your stuff accepted is basically your wording in your contracts. being stern with your offers, I guess deadlines. Anything else you want to add?
Um, a lot of other good stuff. Nothing, I think that's some of the more important stuff.
Sweet, man. That's some good information. Roundup, give us a thumbs up. Now, Vince, we're going to switch gears. Now, you're talking about selling these deals that you get under contract. And Vince was so kind enough to give us his real. If you don't round up, if you don't have a real estate contract yet, if you don't have one, if you're like me starting out, I'm like, where the hell do you get this paperwork from? I'm like, whoop, where does this stuff exist? Vince has agreed. I talked him into it. Y'all know I'm after people already. So I asked Vince to provide us his purchase contract and his assignment. And then Vince, just talk about that real quick, and then we'll get into how you're using this stuff.
Well, I mean, the purchase contract, on a private deal, the contract that you're talking about, Chris, is different than the actual MLS contract, just in case there was somebody that
We're
didn't
switching
see
gears
it.
a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So I call it like my private seller contract, I guess you can say.
Yep.
It is a lot more simple. It's a lot more condensed. The MLS contract is going to be somewhere probably about 15 pages. I want to say it's 14 pages. But the private, contract that I use, only one page. Is very simple. It touches every point that I think is important. And so far, I haven't had any issues with it. But yeah, so that assignment contract is the same deal. One of the biggest things for me is to provide like such a level of simplicity for the seller, right? So when I'm signing, a purchase agreement, I like to be able to sit down with them and be able to, read over everything right then and there, be able to explain everything right then and there, without them having to, go consult, send it over to an attorney and let 5 different family members read over it and stuff like that, And I feel like that once you're sitting right there with the seller, in the living room, backyard, whatever you're doing, after you've looked at the house, the last thing you want to do is present a big, 5-page contract, and you've agreed on the price, you've agreed on terms, and they say, hey, okay, well, let me take this home and read over it. You know what I mean? A lot of them will do that anyway, right? But you don't want to give them like extra ammunition. You want to have them, be able to clearly understand everything and be ready to sign right then and there if they're ready to move forward. Last thing you want to do is create a reason for your seller not to sign if he came prepared to sign the contract anyway. That. Go ahead.
How many pages is your purchase contract, Vince?
1.5 pages. Yeah, and half of it is signatures.
My thing is, look, if you're us, if you like as you are, if you're not even watching this, if you're not an investor, so you got 90 people here. All the hell you got to worry about is price. Well, I mean, I'm gonna just verify this with Vince. Like, as I'm getting older, I'm like, I'm buying the cash anyway. I ain't even thinking about it. We know the shit need $1 million in repair, whatever. I'm just we gotta buy it. If you know the price, when you're gonna close, terms, who the seller is, date. I mean, what else is there, Vince? Some people are like, well, my pages, I cover everything in my contract, both pages.
Right. That is very, very true. It's, you will come across, some difficult people who don't understand 1 + 1 is 2, or, you look at the sky, you say it's blue and they say it's, green, whatever the case. But for the most part, it's very simple, the address, you want to have the right earnest money deposit written down correctly. You want to have the purchase price. You want to have, as a wholesaler, you definitely want to make sure that the contract gives you access to the property. And I actually got this from you, Chris. It is absolutely mandatory, like no way around it in my contract. And I have a clause in there that says that we can put a lockbox on the door and we have access, which I'm pretty sure is really basic to some people, but you'd be surprised. There's a lot of wholesalers out. I've actually worked with some newer wholesalers here lately, and they've had contracts where when it was time to show the property, they had to meet the seller there, and the seller had the key, and they didn't have a lockbox. Every time they want to show a buyer the property, they had to deal with the seller. So you definitely want to give yourself access to the property. You want to have it in writing. It's not something that you want to ask for. It's,
Nope.
you also want to have outs in the contract. You know, basic outs. If you're on this webinar, you know what an out is. Something that gives you a way out of the contract just in case you discover something that's going on with the property that you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
Um, the out to me is not used to get out of contract because you couldn't get it under contract for the right price. To me, you should have comped it before you put the property on the contract. You should know, if you can move it or not.
We're going to present everybody watching here is above board and they are running their numbers and they are doing their due diligence and not tying up ma and pa's home just because you can. That's not
Just because you
what we
can.
do.
Right. Good luck to you, but in most cases it won't work.
You don't want to tie these old people. When I was younger, man, we tied up a lot of houses. I'm like, God, please forgive me. Now I'm like, Vince, I mean, when you're young, you're like, I'm trying to get this money. So you just, whatever. I'm just coming from me.
Hey man, you got to be motivated, man. Because when I first started, man. I got a graveyard of a dead contract somewhere, man. The only thing that kept me moving, I used to watch Chris Bruce a lot, right?
Yeah.
And one of his main things he would always say, I think he said, I had 23 or 27 properties under contract before he closed. And I was at that point, I was more so like 10, maybe 12. I wasn't in the 20s yet. And I was like, okay, if
Like,
this, I must be on the right track.
that's so terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible, man. But that's
But
anyway, we graduated from that and we're
mhm,
making sure that our numbers are right before we make an offer.
mhm. Yeah, and you also you want to make sure, of course, you want to make sure the contract is assignable.
All
Um,
that stuff is included in your 1.5 page agreement contract.
yep, yep. It also states that the seller cannot go form any agreements with any other buyers, any
I
third
saw that
parties.
on yours. I saw that. I like that.
Yeah, and that's in there for a reason. Because let's face it, if you make a seller offer on a property for 75,000 and they love it, and a week later, Mr. Investor from down the street, he comes to tell them he can offer them 100,000. You know, it's a good chance that they will go around you.
You're right.
So you want to have something on paper, just in case things end up in court or something like that.
Cool.
You have guidelines to go by.
So you get your 1.5 page purchase and sale contract and the assignment addendum where you can get your check. How many? That's 1 page, Vince.
The assignment contract, yes, sir, 1 page. Yeah. And I try to make it as bulletproof, as efficient as I can for me and you also, as the people that will be using it, because, the contract that I use, the assignment contract is like really simple. It's really like a half a page, believe it or not. And even in that half a page, it touches on the important stuff, right?
Simple.
It states that, hey, end buyer is to order title right away. It states the close date, it states the contingencies, if there are any contingencies with the end buyer, states the earnest money deposit. It gives a breakdown of what the assignment fees are and stuff like that.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's nothing but a tank of gas, y'all. I'm always trying to give you some value. So if you don't have a purchase and sale agreement, go ahead and download Vince's. He's been doing it since 2012. Man, got some good secret contingencies in there. Vince, we've been on here for 50 minutes. I can continue asking you questions. I mean, I got a million questions in the chat. Man, last thing I want to cover was selling them on your private deals where you have your purchase and sales agreement, the one that you're offering here. How are you selling them on the MLS and getting, you said, over above listing?
well, part of that, is due to the current status of the market right now. Everything's going highest and best. Very little inventory on the market. So the same thing that applies on the retail side is going to apply on the on properties that are in as is condition on the MLS, right?
Gotcha.
So just like you got a bunch of families and owner occupants who are looking to buy a house to live in. When those houses hit the market, you got 10 and 12 buyers. and they're all going, highest and best. That's the same exact thing that's happening with investors. Good deal comes out of the market right now. Yeah, well, you probably have 20 different buyers, in buyers that are making offers on it, right?
Wow.
And I mean, it makes it really easy to get highest and best above list price right now. You don't have to be a genius to be able to do that. Now, prior to it, about a year and a half ago, you did have to, be a little, a little smooth with it. You had to be a little strategic in some of the things that you did. One thing that I really do is I would list the property slightly less than what I really think it's worth. Um, and you know, a lot of times that builds up a sense of urgency because you get a lot of investors who see properties that are listed for less than what they're worth, and then you're going to get a lot of activity. All right. So what happens is once you get all that activity, then you can say, hey, you can tell all of your investors, the buyers that make offers, say, hey, I got 10 other offers on the property. Of course, we're going to go with the strongest offer. If you can, just make your highest and best offer.
Keep going. Stay here for a minute. Stay here for a minute, Vince. I'm gonna step over here. I'll be right back.
Okay. So yeah, so what you do is once you get, once you've corralled you up a certain amount of investors, you just get them to outbid each other, and it's nothing wrong with divulging a little bit of information to each other, just being honest. You can just let them know, hey, look, my current highest offer that I have on it is at this number. Um, in order for us to cut it, if you were to make me an offer right now, then at this price, then we got a deal. And that's now I've signed several contracts doing that, where you actually make the end buyer feel exclusive to this deal, where you can tell them, hey, look, Mr. End Buyer, I do have 10 other offers on this property right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I do like the contest of your offer. I like that it's cash. I like the attorney's office that you're closing with. I like the agent that you're dealing with. Blah 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 blah. So if you can do this number right now, then we got a deal, and I'll let everybody else know that the property is no longer available. And a lot of times, in most cases, that buyer will agree to those terms simply because they don't want to continue to bid, and they know that they have a property locked down. They don't have to worry about. They no longer have to worry about outbidding everybody. So if you didn't clearly understand what I just said, I'll just kind of give you an example. All right. So if I get a property in the contract, and I figure that it's worth 100,000, I'll put it on the MLS for 95,000. All right. You're going to get buyers who are going to say, hey, oh man, we got a property that's priced really well. You want to look at it. They go in, look at it, and they come in and make that offer at 95,000. Boom. They think they got it. I'm like, hey, thanks for your offer, but I got so much activity on this property, and I'm actually expecting it to be highest and best. And really, all that it's a lot of different ways you can play on that. If it's the middle of the week, you can say, hey, look, Saturday is more active. If we make it to Saturday, it's a good chance this property won't be there. So you tell your buyer, say, hey, look, Mr. Buyer, you made your offer at 95, full price offer. That's great. I really appreciate it. But I am expecting a lot of activity on it. If you can make me, if you can do 102,000 right now, we got a deal. Every other I've been in contact with, I tell them it's off the table and it's your property. You don't have to worry about, outbidding and, end up getting the property at 110,000. You know what I mean? And again, a lot of times they don't go for it, especially if you make them feel exclusive, separate from everybody else.
This is it. We do like to feel exclusive. We like to feel like, look, my money's good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Money's good. That's all those times you were doing that to me, Vince? Golly.
I think I'm probably learning from you, man.
I'm just, nah, you got some secrets. All right, we've been on here for an hour. I got to get questions, Vince. I can't keep going. I got to share you, my brother. I got to share you.
Let's go.
Round up. We got 85 people here. Want to hear Vince Gantt, real estate wholesaler, talking about using the MLS. Now, you are listing your contract on the MLS. Is that how we're doing that? I remember when I learned that, I'm like, you mean you don't even have to own the
You
house
know,
listed?
right. You don't have to be the owner. That's another thing. That's another big thing why you want to deal with an agent who knows about wholesaling using the MLS, because a lot of agents would tell you, hey, you can't do that. You're not the owner. And you want to say, at that point, you want to say, you know what, Mrs. Agent, I
Nice.
appreciate your time. I see
Nice.
you around. You have a good one. Seriously.
Nice.
Uh, and you
Love
just
it.
go find an agent who's familiar and will list it for you. As long as you have a ratified contract, that gives you equitable interest in this property that allows you to be able to market it. All right. As long as that contract says it's assignable. I'll go back a couple of seconds. I said the first time I said, as long as you have a ratified contract, that's not true. As long as you have a ratified contract that says the purchase contract is assignable. All right. At that point, you have equitable interest in the property that allows you to market it for a higher price than what you got the property under contract for.
Does your contract have that, Vince?
Oh yeah, of course. Yep.
So I just want to make sure they know what they're getting when they download your purchase and sale contract.
Yep.
Vince,
My contract favors me. It's kind of unfair. Sometimes I even like, I'm surprised that sellers sign and end buyers sign. Because everything just favors me. And that's just something that and it's not unfair. But it definitely favors me as
it's
a
favorable.
wholesaler.
That's okay. I don't care long if I'm the buyer and you giving me what I want. I don't care. I know. Well, Vince, you know that cash buyers, man. We ain't worried about how it sounds. But, it's like the last thing on my mind. How much you need? I'm like, you need two. Okay, 2,000. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even thinking about this stuff.
If it's a deal and they really want it, you dealing with a real buyer, they don't care about the terms as long as they get the property for the right price
Yeah.
and it's in the condition that they think it's in, and it's not a whole bunch of extra craziness going on.
The
You know,
wholesalers where you're trying to do co-wholesaling and another wholesaler is trying to tie you up. That's when you get into a bunch of red tape and okay, you did this, you said you're gonna do that. Don't get
right.
involved with that, y'all.
Yeah. Don't get involved with wholesalers who won't identify themselves as wholesalers,
Yeah, tell the
because it's a certain level of trust that you got to be able to operate in, in any type of partnership. So, and also, um, yeah, that's the main thing. Just, don't deal with wholesalers that are, that won't tell you that they're wholesaler. And also don't deal with buyers that are shaky. You got a lot of shaky buyers in the market right now. A lot of times you can tell the strength of a buyer, based on the proof of funds letter.
yeah.
And that's a whole other subject. But over time, you'll learn to recognize a lender who won't perform, or a lender who will perform.
Well, Vince, I'm thinking that maybe you could come back on here and do a master class on working with real estate agents and getting properties listed on the MLS. Would you be down to do that?
Oh, for sure. It's so much more than
Yeah,
I mean, we can really break this down, and there's several different components, and each one of those components can be a whole hour long, lesson.
yeah,
Um, because it's something that that you have to work at it. You don't want to just jump out there and just start making offers on the MLS.
yeah.
You
Your
want
name.
because part of the reason why I do get a lot of the offers accepted that I do is because a lot of agents in different offices recognize me as somebody who's going to close on a deal. And if you really jump out there and without doing all your homework and your due diligence and stuff like that, then you can easily put a contract on the property in an office, and that does tons of listings. One of the main offices in the area, and once put a contract on the property, you can't close. Especially if you go with one of these bigger brokers like Howard Hanna, or you know one of the bigger ones, Century 21, Exit. That's a big office. Those agents talk. They say, hey, look, this buyer played around. He put a contract on the property. He didn't answer the phone, and they turned the earnest money deposit in late. It's time to close. It's a bunch of craziness. So you want people to say good things about you. So when your contract comes across their table,
Yep.
they ask, one of their fellow agents. The agents can say, hey, yeah, Vince, he closes deals.
That's
What's
right.
his offer to me?
That's right. That's right, man. That's a good point. Round up, put your questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and get some Q&A with Vince talking about how wholesaling using realtors and using the MLS. And I just want to let you know also, if you need financing, the link to my Fund and Grow account, you get a discount, is in the video description. If you want to Fund and Grow, is financed over 2.6 milli. 2.6 milli for my roundup. I can show it to you. I got it right here. We financed 2.6 million in business credit lines as of today, y'all. So if you need any type of financing, go to that link, Fund and Grow. I put it right there. They are really working wonders for my people. Wow.
Chris, me and you've actually done some transactional funding and stuff like that together, haven't we? And you do some. Didn't you fund one of my deals for me?
I'm sure.
At least it was a couple years ago.
Vince, I brought money for so many people's deals. I mean, I don't even, I don't even look at them because you're so thorough. It's like, okay, we're wired. Okay, boom, boom. I mean, it's like I don't think about it. Get your questions in. Let me see. Sean Bowen said he knows when you started. Look at Bowen.
Sean Bowen.
Wow.
I know Sean. What's up, Sean? Long time no speak, my friend.
Yeah. Hester, what's up, Vincent? Good to appreciate you for sharing the wisdom. Thank you, Hester family. Good people.
Man, you got some real important people on here, Chris.
Yeah, man, I'm honored.
Sean Bowen, that's one of the big dogs in this area.
I remember Sean when he started. I remember. I'm like, okay, he's a newbie. He was a newbie, but I remember him. Virginia Beach race. We used to not think overseas money. That's right. Please do not. Don't put a bullet. Take notes. Please don't put a bullet in your head. We're going to need you for. Oh, okay. That's cool. Chris, I got the friend relocated from New York to VA. He's down here looking for a place. Would you be willing to send him some contacts? I don't know. You can send me a message to Chris at chrishaskins.com. Chris at chrishaskins.com. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Don, I started at wholesaling, but never really worked with agents. Okay, but I got licensed myself this month. Good for you, Don. What is the best way I can bring value to other wholesalers now that I'm licensed? It's a good one, Vince.
That is a very good question, Don. Honestly, I would say that you fit the perfect description of an agent that I would have loved to work with, prior to being licensed. If I was a new wholesaler and I was looking for an agent that was willing to put 20, yeah, exactly. Put 20, 25 offers in a week, which again, if you create a template, it doesn't take anything but 2 or 3 minutes, to fill out each offer once you decide, determine what your offer price is and stuff like that. Yeah. But when you say what's the best way I can bring value to other wholesalers now that I'm licensed, I'll tell you, I know from firsthand experience, there are a lot of wholesalers in this area that could use you, because a lot of agents don't want to work with new wholesalers that don't have any track record or haven't closed on more than 3-4 deals. I think that you would be able to get a lot of listings, get a lot of experience. You can build a lot of relationships with a lot of end buyers, and you'll get a lot of activity from sellers also, motivated sellers.
I was going to say for him, Don, I would just be out there trying to see how many wholesalers got contracts you can just throw in the MLS. Just be like, a lot of them don't even know. Yeah. I don't even know you could list a dago. You don't even have to own it.
Mm-hmm. Get with your broker and see what their see what he or she what they charge for like a FISBO listing, where you slap the listing up there and the wholesalers pretty much answer all the phone calls and set the appointments and stuff like that on their own.
Yep, let them do it. Good question, Tamika. This lady here is going to be a trailblazer. Wow, Tamika. There are two different worlds. That's right. A lot of brokers will not allow their agents to work with wholesalers. I'm learning that. Okay, she's the agent too. Is that wow? I didn't know that.
Tamika Henry.
The brokers don't want them to work with y'all. I wonder why that is.
Again, brokers, it's very important, especially if you're going to be a wholesaler. One of the biggest things that really allowed me to grow and make a little money on the MLS is that when I first got licensed, I was actually over at Exit Realty Central, and the broker over there was like super investor friendly.
Sweet.
Yeah, so because there was a bunch of other wholesalers that were already there,
Hmm.
so she knew what could and couldn't be done. Again, you would really be surprised how antiquated a lot of brokers are and how unaware they are of certain things. I've had a broker tell me one time that you couldn't um, do like a rent to own on a property that had a mortgage on it. That has nothing to do with our conversation as far as wholesaling, but that just gives you an idea of
Lack of knowledge.
lack of knowledge. Exactly. And there's a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, somebody that's newer in the game, that would hear that and would run with it, wouldn't even go back and double check and read on it, and her
Create a domino effect.
exactly, and they'll go off and run and tell five people, and they'll go run and tell five people, all the while they all missed out on a whole bunch of money.
That's sad, Vince. I mean, now,
Yeah.
now that you say it like that, I have empathy for people like that. We got 100 people on here, Vince. Wow, this is
Mhm.
sharp, man. Listening to you round up. If you we're here with Vincent Gantt, dropping some real nuggets, man. I've been trying. Vince, y'all don't know that, but Vince is like one of the secret weapons that I made a decision over this weekend. Bring on my homies. Bring on my homies, right? Because I bring people around the country, but Vince is right here. I call him up. I discuss ideas with him. We do philosophy, ideology, just the future planning, all this stuff. So
Mhm.
I get to share Vince with my roundup family. Thank you, Vince.
Man, I'm surprised you think that highly of me, man.
I admire you, man. I
Make
love
me
young
feel good
people.
about myself, man.
You should, Vince. Young. What are you? 30? How old are you?
33.
Young people making money. We need y'all to help. And
I'm
we need.
32. I'm 32. I just turned 32.
Did you just have a birthday?
September.
Oh man, that's a few months ago.
Yeah.
Round up, get questions in. Okay, and don't forget financing in the link. Download Vince's purchase and sale contract and his assignment addendum. I work with the listing agents and have them submit my offer on the listing so so they can receive both sides of the commission.
Hmm.
Talk about that, Vince.
Good idea, kind of bad idea to me.
You can get a
I
lot of offers accepted like that. I have
I
people.
wouldn't say a bad. Wouldn't say it for me again.
You can get a lot of offers accepted like that, but I've had agents not even take my offer if I don't let them list it on the back end, Vince.
Right. Now, if you're newer, then I mean, it's nothing wrong with doing it like that. You just want to make sure that the agent is working for the both of you, and it's kind of hard to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like having an attorney. Going to court with the same attorney. It's kind of hard to do, but you got a lot of agents who will play both sides of the fence in order to get a deal done.
they want that back end.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that definitely helps, and I've done that a bunch, even as a licensed agent, where I'll go in and tell them, hey, I'll just go in as an unrepresented party, so that way you can get the full 6%. I just go in as a regular buyer, not an agent and not the selling agent and the buyer. Now in the market now, yeah, you definitely like I haven't ratified on a contract on the MLS where I was the selling agent. Well, I was getting the agent commission and an assignment fee in a while. Probably again since the market turned. But prior to that, when I would put a property under contract on the MLS, I would be the buyer, the contract owner, all right, that assigns the contract to an end buyer, get the assignment fee. But then I will also be the selling agent. All right, does that make sense?
Wow, that's
Yeah,
gangster.
because you're the selling agent. I'm the selling agent and the buyer on the first
Bring the buyer
contract.
in.
Yeah.
That's
So when I
wow.
so when I sign that contract, that seller is still gonna pay that 6% commission. 3% gonna go to the selling agent, 3% goes to the listing agent. And of course, I'm the selling agent. I'm also the contract owner.
Let's don't get too deep on that one, Vince. I want to stay in the investor world, but
Yeah.
I think that needs to be talked about. Let's just save it for maybe for your master class.
All right, let's do it.
That's a crazy. That's almost like a. It's almost like an asset.
Hmm. Yeah,
Passive income.
yeah.
Mi vida. How are you comping your wholesales?
Hmm. Well, I'm using the MLS for sure. I don't use anything else except the MLS. I mean, I'm comping them just like any other property. If it's a 3 bedroom, 2 full bath brick style rancher, 1,500 square feet. I'm a comp, other 3 bedroom, 2 full baths, 1,500 square foot brick ranchers in the area. I go back 6 months to a year, all depending on what you come up with. Once you do pull a list, once you do pull your comps. Um, so this, that's kind of like a broad question to me. How are you comping? Go into did that clearly answer all your question?
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't know if he's new or not, but shoot,
Yeah.
I could look at the most
Yeah, that's something that I would, definitely a point that I would like to make, is that for me, the MLS is just so accurate and it just offers so much more
up to date.
up to date information. It just offers has so much to offer when comping a property, when listing the property, when making an offer on the property, when looking into tax records. I use the MLS for so much more than just listing and putting properties under contract.
Yeah, I can't wait to get you on here to teach this stuff. Because we probably have to do a Saturday thing, a couple hours for a class.
Hmm.
You got so much data. Here's the thing, mi vida. If you're doing out of state, I'm telling you, I personally believe that eventually there is not going to be any difference between PropStream, which you
Hmm.
can get at Chris Property Data. This is just my belief.
Yeah.
Big data is big data is big data. The
Hmm.
problem is the MLSs, they like to be exclusive.
Hmm.
They like to, I call it hoarding information. You can't get it. But this unregulating of data, as we get further into this 5G, well, this is my opinion, Vince. You can chime in.
Hmm.
I don't think it's going to be any difference. Sooner or later, if you're going to, it's just data. All it is data. You just typing in numbers, just like Zillow. Zillow doesn't even, they just do data.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that because a lot of the systems that you can use nowadays to comp properties are so much better
Oh,
than what it was like 10 years ago. The reason I'm so, I back the MLS so strongly, I speak so highly of it is because the stuff that was out there for the
trash,
longest time was just
trash.
trash. It was the comps was off, the information was faulty, you know, it just wasn't very good. But yeah, Prop Stream is one. I know Sean Terry, what was the name of it? Sean Terry and Kent Clothier and a couple of those guys was promoting something about a year or so ago.
It,
It was
it,
actually,
they're all pulling the same information
yeah,
from Core
yeah,
Logic. All
yeah,
we all get the same data. It's just Rain pays. I don't know what they pay. A
mhm,
lot of money to get it.
yeah, yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. William, great information. I just got connected with a realtor, so this is helpful. Good for you, William.
I would also tell you with being new, it's definitely a good idea to find an agent that you have some type of rapport with already. It may be a good thing to do things that make it easier on them to submit a bunch of offers for me because again, ultimately it does take it's a good chance you're not gonna get a property under contract the first time you submit an offer. You probably gotta, throw 20, 25 of them out there in order to get one accepted.
Yeah,
So you want to do things that make it easy on your agent to submit your offer for me. Put a package together where all he has to do is go in and fill a template out. Send them up to date proof of funds and stuff like that.
yep.
So yeah.
The easier, I found out, being 45, the easier you make it for other people to make money with you, the more they want to work with you. The harder you make it for them to make money with you, they're not gonna be happy when they see your phone number on the caller ID. Okay, keep that in mind. Am I making somebody's life easier? Like when Vince comes on here, I'm making his life easier. I'm not asking him to do a whole bunch of stuff out of the realm or stuff that's not already orbiting his business. Okay. William says, do we include in the contract that the end buyer will pay the earnest money?
No,
Mm-mm.
you don't mention anything. Okay, well, in what contract?
I think it's talking about the end buyer. So you're wholesaling it. Man, yeah, we talked about two different things, William. Go ahead. Well, let's talk about if you're making offers. You have to do that if you're making off. No, you don't. If you're making offers and if you're selling on the MLS, go ahead, real quickly, Vince. Wait a minute, an hour and 15 minutes.
All right. So he's saying if you're putting a property on under contract that's already listed on the MLS, do we put in the contract that the end buyer will pay the earnest money deposit? No. All right.
How about if I just go
The
ahead?
assignment contract that you sign with the end buyer states that, which is totally separate from the rain contract. You don't want your seller on the first contract to be have their nose and the contents and terms of whatever your assignment contract is. Two totally different things.
Yeah, don't mix that up, bro. Don't mix that up. Don, I have my license with an independent managing broker. Okay, who's cool with wholesale, but what's the good pay structure for my wholesale deals to include the broker since they will be going in my LLC?
Mm-hmm. All my license with it. Okay, it was cool with me also. What is it?
Wants to
Good
know how
pay
it pays the
structure.
broker. Because a lot of times, like we deal directly with the broker, so they do whatever the hell they want.
Mm-hmm.
Being an agent, you got to deal with the broker. So how can he? What's the pay? That's a good question.
I mean, typically, if you're gonna be doing a lot of volume, you may want to be able to try to work something out with you having an independent broker is really it's an advantage, to me, if you ask me, because now you got a little bit more leeway, and she's a lot of times they're gonna be a little bit more negotiable. They can work with you more on a one-on-one circumstantial
I love it.
basis because they don't got to worry about if I'm dealing with 100 other agents and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, but I would work out. I would try to work out something where you agree to a flat fee for each time that you list a property. You pay the agent. You list you offer your broker a flat fee up front. You would take all the phone calls. You would do all the negotiating. You would write the contracts and all the showings and stuff like that. You pay her a flat fee. Pay her up front. Or if you don't want to pay her up front, you offer to pay her on the back end or him on the back end. If you pay him on the back end, then usually I'll offer a little bit more than what I would if I was gonna pay him up front. That makes sense to you. Because they're willing to wait to get their money for the property to close.
Mhm.
So I would try to negotiate some type of flat fee. Usually $250, $300. Shouldn't pay any more for a listing to list the property.
Gotcha.
Now that's on a listing. That's once you get your private contract and you list it on the MLS. Now, on when you're putting offers on properties that are already listed on the MLS and you're the buyer, the contract owner that's going to flip it. 70-30 split, whatever the norm is in the office, because at that point, the seller's paying the commission. You're not paying the commission.
You're still paying all the commissions. All the commissions are still included on that stuff.
Say it for me again.
So are you saying that all the standard commissions are still included on that stuff when you are buying a house that's on the MLS?
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Because the seller pays the commission.
Yep. Wonderful topic. Appreciate you and Vince. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Marcus
Listen,
says,
happy I was able to be helpful for somebody, to be honest with you. I'm
yeah.
hoping that somebody actually is taking something away.
Y'all don't know. I've been asking Vince. He didn't want to tell me this. But he said he'd be willing to share it with y'all. He don't want to just give it to me. He's giving the game up to everybody. Marcus, yes, it seems like he is performing a double closing on the MLS. Is this true? I can't understand the question.
it seems like he's performing a double closing on the MLS. Is this true? No, you can once you part of the contents in your offer when you're putting offers on properties that are already listed is that the contract is assignable. All right, so you have to use a RAIN contract when putting offers in on the MLS. On a RAIN contract, it already has built into the contract that the contract is not assignable. All right. That's a very simple and easy fix. You just simply cross that out and put contract is assignable. All right. Initial next to it. And the sellers will initial next to it always. And believe it or not, it never gets made a big deal out of. Very seldomly will anybody ever asks. And if anybody ever asks, hey, why is the contract assignable? You tell them, hey, there's a good chance I'm going to assign it to a different LLC prior to closing.
And shut up.
You know,
Shut up after you say that. Shut up.
Hey, that is the biggest thing you do. Just be quiet. Because the more and more you talk, the more and more they will, you're going to say something that's, going to throw them off. So, yeah, just be quiet. Be straight to the point.
They want to know why you put this thing. From time to time, we might move. I don't know what LLCs I'm going to put it in.
Exactly. I tell them, which is very true, because we own quite a bit of rental properties ourselves. I tell them, hey, look, when I buy properties, I make each one of my properties, I put them in an LLC or a trust that's exclusive to their property. Now, honestly, all I do is a trust. All of my properties go in a trust.
Good.
I do have a couple of them that are on the LLC. That's because when I was buying them, the LLCs, I wasn't putting them in trust. But
we all have some of those. We all got some of those. Dana, St. Louis. Yeah, put your city in here so I know where my homie's coming from. What is a fair amount to offer an agent for MLS information? P.S. How old is Vince? Love to see young brothers. That's right, and sisters. Good for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
How old are you, Vince?
32.
32. All right.
Yeah, 32. I was really young about 10 years. Like, listen, before I grew facial hair, man, I really had to do a lot of convincing. A lot of people didn't believe that I was able to close on a deal. You walk in somebody else and you look 15, 16, they like, I mean, where you going to get the money to close from?
That's something, man. Maybe one day we'll talk about being a young wholesaler.
But as far as an amount to offer an agent for MLS information, honestly, in real estate, it's a known fact that we don't get paid unless we close on a deal, and a part of an agent's job is to offer quality to their customers. So, I mean, that's what you would be. You would be a customer or a client, whatever you want to call it. So, they shouldn't really have a problem comping stuff for you, getting your information, that an agent, would offer you, simply because, their job is to do things to get you to the point where you're able to buy a property and close on it so they can get a commission.
Yeah,
now, if you get to the point where, I will tell you this, if you get to the point where you made a ton of offers and you can kind of feel the agent, answering your phone calls, yeah, offer them something. Don't, because you'll find you'll have to burn through a couple of agents, That's why it's, again, very important that you do as much as you can to make it easy for for the agent that's going to be putting your property, your offers in, to put your offers in for you. Make it super easy for them, and that's something we can talk about another time.
Yeah.
As far as putting together the template and your offer package and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want. I can't wait to get you on to do that. Christian, in my area, investors don't like wholesalers. That's everywhere. I mean, anywhere that wholesale properties on the MLS because they said there's not enough profit to be made. How do you deal with that to make investors understand that deal? And believe it or not, Christian, a lot of investors, even I'm gonna ask Vince, I've met veterans that don't even know what a wholesale is.
Yeah, and then you got a lot. I actually had a wholesaler who I do business with now. I've closed several properties with them. But when I first kind of approached him, when we first met, I was kind of out in the area where one of our rental properties that I was leaving, and I seen the guy, rehabbing the house. Like I always do, if I got time, I'll stop and get out and network and stuff like that. No sooner than I can get in the door and introduce myself as a wholesaler, he said, "Oh, I don't deal with wholesalers." I said, "Wow."
Wow.
He said, "Oh, man, because by the time you get a property under contract, get it to me, it ain't no deal." And then, he had a poor experience prior to me where, something going on with the contract with the wholesalers and a whole bunch of stuff. But when you come across, buyers who say they don't deal with wholesalers for whatever reason, that right there doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because buyers, from my experience, real buyers, solid buyers, aggressive buyers, they buy from whoever,
Man, I don't care.
cat, dog, you know, old lady walking down the street, if they can get it on paper, they'll buy it.
We don't care.
So if you're having that issue, I mean, you must be having that issue as you're trying to build that buyers list, because I can
Yeah,
almost guarantee, if you got a deal that's locked and loaded and ready to go, and you're talking to an investor, and it's a deal, and he's not going to tell you, "Hey,
he don't care.
I like the deal, but I'm not going to buy from a wholesaler."
You're
And
crazy,
if he
man.
if he does, you got 1,000 other investors behind him. You just tell them, "Thank you, sir. Have a nice day." You know.
This business is so easier when you deal with people that know what they're doing. It's just like, I mean, it's enjoyable. Like when you have paperwork, you're like, okay, where's this at? Where's the doc? Where's the trust docs? Where is the assignment? I mean, it's fun, man. But it really gets challenging when you just people that aren't educated in it. So,
Really, hey, two totally different ball games. When you got to do the work for the title agent and the
oh gosh,
you got to do the work for the title company and the agent and everybody else.
it's rough.
Rough, really rough.
So just remember that, y'all. You will have to be the glue to make these things close. I'm sure I can imagine how many places you've been pulled to kind of make deals close, Vince. I mean, I can only imagine, because
Yeah.
that's how I was. I'm like, shit. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Even that one we did, I don't know. You would help me do some research on some title
hmm
work. I'm like, who do you call to do this stuff?
hmm
Nobody's gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of stuff you will have to get in there and do on your own if you don't got the right people around you.
That's true.
That's the difference between somebody that can say, "Hey, I'm going on vacation while this deal is closing, or these deals are closing," versus you not being able to go on vacation. Because you're
Mhm.
not sure that you got a $20,000 assignment fee over here. You're not sure that they know what they're doing. You kind of want to hang around and babysit them.
Yeah, I need that. I need that 20.
Yes, sir.
T5. My biggest issue is on market has been the proof of funds. How do you handle that, Vince?
What, man? Listen, man. I get Chris Haskins, a proof of funds letter from Chris. Well, when I was wholesaling, right? Now I use like bank statements and bank letters and stuff like that. But if you don't have the money to close on the deal, which it doesn't matter if you do or don't, right? Because you're not closing on it anyway. Nothing to be ashamed of. Um, then you find a legitimate source of proof of funds.
Mhm.
Um, you got some folks that make stuff up, create a proof of funds. That's not what you want to do, because a great number of agents, will call, whatever number is on the proof of funds letter, and they'll also do some due diligence, look you up on the SEC and
Yep.
stuff like that. But there are several different companies out here where you can subscribe to whatever service they have, real estate,
I know Do
guru.
Hard Money. Do Hard Money has the way they'll give you one too. They're
Yeah.
national hard money.
But I'll tell you, do hard money. Hopefully nobody on his call works for them.
They're
They have
rough.
a very, very bad reputation
They're
for
rough.
not being able to close. They take a long time, and they also have a reputation for changing terms and stuff like that on investment and making it hard on the investor.
Yep.
Which to me, honestly, we don't accept any contracts that come from do hard money.
Yeah, it's rough.
You can make me offer $100,000 more than what we got it listed for, but I've actually had experience with them.
Hmm.
Well, we were going to flip a property before, and you got to pay like a fee up front for them to come out and assess the property, and they never even came. It was just a bad, all around bad experience. So that's also very important. As a newer wholesaler, you want to have a legitimate proof of funds letter. It doesn't look generic, if that makes sense to you. Um, yeah, so
Okay. Well, yeah, we've given Vince. I mean, I can trust Vince. I mean, he might take, I don't know, bank statements from me. This has been years ago, or we'll write him a letter because I know that Vince
mhm,
is doing what he got to do. And if we do have to close on it, it's no big deal. But yeah, we've done that. Get a local investor. Get a relationship with somebody that has the capital in the bank.
exactly. Yep. That's another thing you can do. You deal with an investor. You say, "Hey, Mr. Investor, I need a proof of funds letter so I can put offers in for you."
I
You
mean,
know,
they'd be happy.
be happy to. You know,
I'm a Marion. What do you think about Gloucester, or if you're from New York, Gloucester? I'm a wholesaler that is starting out, and there are a lot of distressed properties around me. Vince? I don't know.
brother. I have done. I don't think I've ever done anything in Gloucester. Have you, Chris?
I mean, maybe one or two.
Yeah. But look, one thing I will say, look, is one thing that I really learned and soaked into my real estate genealogy, I guess that's what you can call it, genealogy, is that if a house is priced right, it will sell, no matter where it's at.
That's true.
So you just gotta definitely go for it. Because I'll tell you this, I've never heard of a whole bunch of other people wholesaling in Gloucester.
That's
And
good.
that's a very good thing. And that's also not a low, not an area. That's a really high end area, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lot of high end stuff in Gloucester, right?
Yeah.
So you're
People
not
move
gonna
there.
do many deals, but when you do them, you're gonna break the bank. You're not gonna close. You probably not gonna close 3 or 4 deals a month, but once you do close that one deal every 2 or 3 months, then it's gonna be worth it, and you don't have a lot of other people swimming in the same waters with you.
Blue Ocean.
Blue ocean,
Yeah, Blue Ocean. For deal, we went over proof of funds already. You could send a bank balance. We did that.
anything.
Yeah, we did that proof of funds.
Sometimes, man, I send a snapshot. Something about being an investor. You can kind of bend rules. Proof of funds. I try to be as unofficial as possible with some of this stuff because for some reason that stands out to them as, oh, he's really an investor. You know what I mean? You ask for a proof of funds letter instead of me sending you over this decorated, PDF file. I just simply send you a screenshot of an app from my app or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yep. That works wonders because it's like I don't got time for this.
Yeah, I don't got time for this here. It's how serious I am. I'm a real investor. I'm.
People love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, damn, you got 200. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Changes the conversation real quick. Round up. Get your questions in for Vince. Didn't I tell you we have a million questions?
I'm really enjoying myself. I appreciate all you guys tuning in and asking questions and stuff like that.
Yep. Marion, how can new wholesalers build a buyer's list when at this time when we can't network and meet buyers? Oh man, that's a good one too. It ain't like the old days where you just show up at the RIAs.
Very good question. I would tell you that's not as hard as you think, honestly, because when I really think back on the past few deals I've done, let me think. Let me give you a real. Let me think hard and really think.
Once you list it on the MLS, you don't got to meet nobody. I mean,
You don't got
everybody.
to meet anyway, But I will tell you that I've only probably signed a contract with, out of the last 10 deals I've done, I probably signed a contract with 2 or 3 of them. 2 or 3 of them were actually investors that I one of my investors that I would call my buyers.
This is new
And
people.
all the rest of them are MLS buyers.
New people.
You can literally put a property in a contract right now, have 0 buyers beginning of the day, put it on the MLS, and have 20 buyers slobbering over it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't worry too much about finding buyers and networking with buyers. That takes a lot. You build a buyer's list a lot faster doing stuff online than you can getting out there and networking one on one.
Well, the thing is, I liken Marion. Us cash buyers are like dropping food into a bucket full of sharks. I just want you to imagine you got a bucket with sharks in there. That's what we are, right? If you're gonna take some food and drop it in there, that deal is going to be gone
Oh,
instantly. It's like
mhm,
the buyers are I mean, all we are is this, your market wherever you're at, it's just a bucket, right? We're just sitting around waiting. We're just waiting.
mhm.
So finding a buyer is the least of your worries, dude.
Least of your worries. And one thing I'll tell you, I've had a lot of success getting a higher number off of buyers off of the MLS. Because like early on, when I first started wholesaling, a lot of my go-to are pocket buyers. I was getting them deals for like really sweet prices, right? So now, like they expect me to get those same deals for them, and I just don't want to go through the motion of negotiating with them
They're gonna
every
talk you
time.
down. They're gonna
Yeah,
talk you down.
they'll talk you down, you know. And
So give them
versus,
the deal.
the MLS to me is kind of like taking like, all right, so the difference between the MLS is if you're gonna sell a car, right? Would you much rather sell are you going to have a better chance of selling it by putting a for sale by owner sign in the front window and sitting in front of the house, or would you have a better chance of selling if you were to put it online?
Yeah.
You get what I'm
No brainer.
saying?
No brainer.
The MLS just puts it out there for a wider variety of buyers that'll pay more. They don't have a direct relationship with you where they know you one on one, where they don't feel like that they can negotiate with you every turn of the way. And they know that you have no relationship. So they say like, hey, let me throw the best offer I can and to get this deal under
Yeah.
contract.
And we're lazy. Who is that? Marion? Buyers, we're lazy. I want the best. Like when you get doing business for quite a while, I'm like, I don't care if I buy it or not. But
Right.
there are a lot of investors like, I have to get this next deal. And that's where you're gonna find those people on the MLS.
It's
So you
true.
bring it to me, I'm like, how much is it? Oh shit, man.
Because Chris
I'm
can
gonna
find
make
his own deal also.
Yeah, you find your own stuff.
Yeah.
But the older guys, we're like, man, we know that in the past, I've bought houses in Vince too for 20 some thousand where you could probably get 50 on the MLS.
Yeah. All day.
Marcus, is this considered a double closing on the MLS the way you get the end buyer to sign?
No, it's solid assignment contract. Um,
Yep.
I mean, the
Sign.
only time I've done a double closing on the MLS is when it was bank owned property or a short sale.
Yeah, you got a double
And
close.
then the short sale wasn't considered a double closing. We just sold the rights to the LLC.
Mm.
But yeah, it's an assignment contract. In the
Yeah.
rain contract, when you put the property in the contract, it's going to say that contract is assignable. And then when you turn around and find your end buyer, you assign that rain contract to your end buyer. It's
Yep.
not a double closing.
Period. Justin, how should I set up my realtor so they can submit offers consistently? That is what the class is for right there. Because that's going to take some time, isn't it, Vince?
Yes, it will. Because then we gotta show you how to
Template.
build your template, put your template together,
I
which
can't wait
include,
for that.
which of course you attach like the contingency, the inspection period and all that.
Sweet.
The contingency addendum is what I meant. Then you also put your proof of funds and, a copy of earnest money deposit check. Um, so yeah, that's a really long conversation for, I would probably say for another day.
Yeah. Well, Justin, what we'll do is if you let us know. I told Vince to come on to see what you guys wanted to know, to be frank. That's exactly what I told you, didn't I, Vince?
That's right. Well, we were trying to figure out what direction to go from, and it was like, hey, let's let the people tell us.
Yeah. So Justin, you guys type in the chat, even in the comments, if you missed this thing, we got 100 people. Let us know what you like to do. I'm gonna get Vince to do an all-day training on making offers with realtors and dealing with the MLS. So this is one here. And if that's something that if you don't have a question on it, just say, yes, I would like MLS training or like a realtor working with realtor training. Type that in the chat for me so we know how many people. Literally, I don't try to sit around and come up with this stuff. I literally want to do what you guys want to see.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just a good way to compensate by managing broker. We did that already. Don, we talked about that one. How do you compensate the managing broker for off-market deals? Or do you pay for off-market deals or do it through your LLC?
What would be a good way to compensate my managing broker for each off-market deal. Why would you?
If it's off market,
If it's an off-market deal, there would be any reason for you to pay the broker.
yeah,
Yeah. See, that's another thing. Like, it's a lot of gray area.
it is.
Just because you're a licensed agent does not mean that if you buy a property and put it under contract that you have to pay your broker. You
I've
can
seen
go
people
in,
do it.
as an unrepresented buyer.
Yep. I've seen people do it, but you don't have to. But anyway, yeah, that's up to the buyer, right? That's up to
It's
them.
up to the buyer.
Jay, Vince, how long does it take to become a licensed realtor and not realtor?
All right. So
Everybody didn't do it as fast as some.
yeah. Um, what is the class here? I took the course back in like
What is it called?
2015 or something. I think it's like a 6-week course or something like that.
Gotcha.
And then you gotta pass a test to be able to take the state test. So all in all, if you pass everything, the first 2 or 3 times, it shouldn't take any longer than
What's that?
3 months or something like that.
Yeah. Larry, I just made an agent call an hour ago. This is right on time. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Butter up those agents, man. And you guys definitely want to have a certain level of knowledge before you start making offers on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Because agents, are being addressed and approached by illegitimate buyers and wholesalers all day, So you want to be able to have, your knowledge, so you can speak confidently once you do get it on the phone with that agent. So
Yeah.
glad you guys here.
Make my existence count. How do you approach an offer where the realtor asks for proof of funds? Oh, I went over that one already. Oh, that I don't want to go. I'm going to have to start making this open for my members only. We're going to open up a members section. Errors and omission insurance. You don't have to worry about that, Edward. What are you talking about? Oh, he must be a broker.
Right, so brokers don't want to be held liable.
He says our E&O, so he must be a broker too. That's why. But even a broker, Vince, I've had several deals where I have the damn contract. Matter of fact, they reported us, my broker, to Rain, and if you show through the contract, I think, like you said, it's just having the correct knowledge to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and right now I think it's kind of a different time, because of the influx of investors and wholesalers in the market right now. You see a lot of wholesalers that are illegitimately putting in offers and not able to close, and it's kind of like an undercurrent of a lot of agents who are starting to, the whispers have become like roars. You know what I mean? Where before everybody was a little disgruntled. We got it. Wholesaler here, wholesaler there, putting the property in a contract that they can't close on. But now it's a lot more.
Because of the internet.
Exactly, because of the internet. You got a lot of seminars, 3-day seminars. Teach you how to be a wholesaler and stuff like that.
True.
So it's again, I just can't stress enough because there's only so much of this that like rain and depot and all that's going to take before they start making regulations that make it hard to wholesale on MLS, and you make it really hard on once a wholesaler goes in and puts a property in a contract and they're not able to close, or they do something that that leaves a bad taste in somebody's mouth, and then you got to the investor or the wholesaler comes in after them has to clean up after that. That's hard to do.
I always say, man, this is just me. Whenever black people start making money on something, man, they just seem like they change.
Yeah, that is true. That's true, especially
with this.
Yeah.
Dana, thank you for presenting and pouring. Yes, you're making our lives and businesses easier. Thank you. That is so cool. Thanks, Vince, too. Okay, William. Sorry for wording that wrong. I'm just getting started. Oh, taking notes. Good for you. JNL, I'm investing out of state. What questions should I ask when looking for a wholesale or realtor? We almost at 2 hours, man. I got to matter of fact, Let's do this, Vince. Yeah, I mean, we can't even. I could keep going. I got to do dinner. Vince, let's do this. Round up. I got so many questions here. I can't even get to them. Vince, what we'll do, Vince, we'll go through these questions here. We're going to develop 1 day training for Vince. Get him back on here. I do have to pay him for his time, so it'll be something small. You already know how I do. It's nothing going to be expensive because that's not the crowd that I serve. So we'll do a 1 day training with Vince, and you can get his documents already now in the video description, but it's going to take him some time to put all this together. Please get your questions in the comments so Vince can come back on here. I'm telling y'all, he got some tricks up his sleeve, man. This dude is doing, especially with that temping, firing out. You had another one you were saying, well, you had a computer doing some stuff too, didn't you, Vince?
Yeah, I actually do, right? See, I got a Podio system that I designed to where I can just like upload, like I upload. See, like the way I'm telling you guys is the old way I used to do it, honestly. And the reason I'm not really haven't divulged a whole lot on the systems because I haven't really tweaked it like I really want to. But essentially, what I do is I just put all of my offers into an Excel spreadsheet, then I merge it with Podio, and then Podio is a template that where I can merge the Excel spreadsheet with the rain contract.
Sweet.
Then it automatically blasts the offers out.
That's crazy.
All right, a lot of explaining, but that's something. Yeah, that's also something that I do also.
We can cover that too. It's gonna be several hours. I mean, we just did one topic here. We're at 2 hours, Vince. So
yeah, that's something definitely that I think that I would be more than happy to give some good information on.
Sweet. Okay. Listen, round up. If you need financing, if you need to pull comps anywhere in the country, that link's in the video description. My financing for business lines of credit, we're over 2.6 million for my round-uppers today. And also, if you're like me starting out, you don't have a purchase and sales agreement or a contract assignment agreement, Vince's the man right there in the description. You can download his. Listen, Vince, we're 2 hours, man. Just give me your final thoughts and I'll let you go, bro.
Oh man, it's just been a really I really enjoyed myself. I'll tell you that. When you say we're coming up on 2 hours, it's kind of hard for me to believe. I feel like we just sat down. I look forward to getting the feedback, so we can start, we get to work and put together some material, for it, so that somebody can start, so you guys can start making money on the MLS. See, my mind and heart is in this more so just because when I help you, you help me. Simply because, we have to, wholesalers have to maintain a certain level of integrity when putting offers on the MLS or wholesaling period. So I really just, it does me a lot of good to be able to equip and, educate and give everybody the right knowledge that they need in order to go out there and put offers on the MLS.
I'm thankful because you always under a deal somewhere. I mean, you called me about a deal the other day. What were you, borrowing some money or dealing with a lender or something? I don't know.
Yeah. I was putting together a seller finance deal, and
that's right.
I think it was a couple of terms that I wasn't familiar with.
Get some points.
I kind of was about to agree. Yeah, exactly. Before I agree to this, let me call Chris.
Wow. Roundup, I love you. I love the people. I'm telling you, I love the people. Listen, subscribe to the channel, like this content. We are here working for you. We're working for you. Wednesday, we got our YouTube and internet marketing training. That's going to be either 3 or 4 o'clock. Get your YouTube skills up. I promise you, that's where we're headed to. Real estate on the computer. That's all it is. Real estate on the computer. And share this content with any other investors that need to understand you can make offers on the MLS or sell houses on the MLS. It's stuff done every day. Vince doing it. I seen the guy do it. Call me up every time we get a deal. I can't pay. See, Vince's prices are going up so high. I'm like, man, I just can't pay his prices. I don't know how he gets these.
You don't know how to move them, huh? Sometimes me neither.
You be doing some amazing stuff. Roundup, I love you. Look, make sure you subscribe. Continue to comment and put any questions you want Vince to cover in this training. We're gonna do I don't have a name for it yet, but working with agents live training for Vince. Okay, y'all. It's Chris Haskins over out. Talk to you soon. Peace.